Uh, this lesson is a continue of the previous lesson on pine tree. So there is something new, that is a water surface. First of all, my palette is the same as usual, half warm color, half cool colors. And I start painting by spray some water on the paper to prepare it. Then using this flat brush, I also once again spray the water all over the paper. Then using a very tiny amount of ochre yellow, I start painting the horizon, then go upward and using a mixture of purple and red, I do horizontal movements that represents the dusk time or morning sky. While moving upward, I'm going to use more of blue color that in fact is Prussian blue. I did something wrong, and it was that the fact that I didn't mix my color, and as you saw, there were some unsolved purple on my brush. It was my fault. So try to mix all your color on the palette. I'm doing the same job to represent the water, but in this time I'm going to use thicker non-watery color. Keep moving horizontal, and once again using a deep Prussian blue, I'm going to paint the near side of the water surface. To define the horizon of the water, surface of the water, I used a very pale blue using a flat brush, and with only water, some water, or let me say just a bit wet on my flat brush, I solve the sharp edge of the horizon. Now it's time to paint the first shore, and then I will do the same job for the shore reflection. So to paint the shore, I use a mixture of burnt umber and some deep green, and I do use the same color for its reflection. Now it's time to paint the first pine tree. I start from the trunk, that is a very narrow vertical line, that then it is coming down. Then I'm going to add some minor branches here and there, keeping in mind all the previous mentioned lessons about the pine tree. Once again, try to keep the overall shape as triangle, the first rule. The second rule says that avoid fishbone skeleton for your tree, or avoid symmetrical shape for your skeleton. And the third rule is that you can use darker color when you are going downward and also at the center of the tree. Also try to keep the very tip of your tree very tiny and very sharp, and using movements like zigzag or movement like Z shapes, try to paint the branches here and there. Keeping in mind that you must avoid symmetrical shapes. It makes your painting to be unpleasant and very rudimentary, very primitive, while when you are trying to keep the balance without conveying the symmetry, then you would have a more marvelous result. So these were the basic rules. Also try to make some color changes and color variation. Start each branch by painting the main skeleton of it, then adding the sub branches that are almost leaves. I'm doing the same technique for the last three. I start from a very narrow, tiny head skeleton, very vertical, very tiny, vertical and tiny, and then when I'm going down and moving downward, I start from the main branch and then add the leaves, while I am keeping in my mind that the overall shape must be a triangle. If you haven't seen the previous lesson on pine tree, please once again review that lesson. It's very crucial and necessary for further lessons. So I try to sometimes summarize all the previous lessons, but it's impossible to summarize all of them. So please go back and once again see the previous lesson. Make color variation using the burnt umber or other brown color you have, some blue colors, violet colors, etc. It will make your painting more interesting. For the reflection, I use the same technique. I start from the main branch, but wavy lines, and with a mixture of blue color with the previous colors, and try to keep the reflection color also like a triangle, while keeping in my mind that the main branch, main trunk of the tree must be vertical, and using some sort of zigzag shapes, I'm going to try to mimic the reflection. So the same mixture of the tree but more bluish, and that's all about the reflection. Keep in mind that you must keep everything very simple. Maybe you need to revive this lesson several times and try several times to reach the desired result. Keep working, keep exercising, and I'm pretty sure that practice makes perfect. Please subscribe if you're interested, and share the lessons that you have learned here.